Welcome back. The mental health system in Michigan is supposed to protect those who suffer from mental illnesses, but the family of Casey Foley says it's the lack of protection which actually led to his death. Tonight, 7 investigator Ross Jones continues our ongoing series, Waiting for Disaster, exposing how a system that is supposed to keep the mentally ill in treatment has been letting some of the most vulnerable fall through the cracks.
He was like the perfect child in a lot of senses. He was really smart. He was always interested in other cultures and other languages.
Look through the photos of Veronica Stewart's son, Casey, and you learn about the boy she used to know.
He was very friendly, and he was my best friend. He just was crazy about me.
But a photo album doesn't tell the story of Casey's darkest, most troubled years. That story is told here on the 5th floor of the Genesee County Courthouse in case files nearly 4 inches thick.
He was nervous. He was unsettled, acted crazy.
Starting when he was 17, Casey began to act differently, first in small ways like staying in his room or retreating from his friends, but gradually the changes became more severe.
He would call me a lot when he was in Flint, and he would tell me that the FBI they had him surrounded.
A diagnosis of paranoid schizophrenia and bipolar quickly followed, and Casey's behavior escalated. He started leaving home, spending time on the streets with Flint's homeless. Any cash he received, he would give to them. And on a day in August 1998, Casey's mental illness would upend his life.
How did you find out what he had done?
I read it in the newspaper. I saw a picture of him in the newspaper. He was in the Flint River.
Her son, never in trouble with the law before, had been arrested for armed robbery. He came here to a bank in Flint and, wielding a knife, took off with a bag of money. His mom knew why.
His whole point was to get money for the people that lived on the streets, whom he felt akin to.
Casey was charged in Genesee County Court and found not guilty by reason of insanity. Doctors said he needed to be committed to a state hospital, and for the next 13 years, he would be. Year after year, hospital staff who worked with him deemed Casey a danger to himself and others, that he had delusions, wouldn't take his medicine, and could be dangerous. Twice, Casey petitioned to be let out of the hospital, and both times, a judge said he wasn't ready. But on his third try, Casey asked that a jury decide his fate. He got his wish.
We're back in the record in the matter of Casey Foley, case number 97153.
Over a 2-day trial, hospital staff who took the stand insisted Casey wasn't ready to be let out.
He tried to grab her by the wrist, trying to hurt her.
And he reported that he could hurt himself. He's delusional. He has severe mood swings.
Only one witness testified that Casey was ready to leave state care, and that was Casey. But even on the stand, he struggled to answer even the most basic questions, like naming the illness he suffered with most of his life.
What did I say earlier?
Your attorney can't really help you.
I'm not a psychiatrist. I couldn't tell you. All I know is I have a mental illness.
Listening to his testimony, I never thought the jury would find that he didn't need treatment.
But they did. After only 2 hours, 8 jurors decided Foley was no threat to himself or anyone else. After 13 years, he was released from the state's care that day. No supervision or special treatment could be ordered. Casey's mom found out from a phone call.
Said he'd been released, and he was going out on the street unless somebody came down and picked him up. It was just that simple. And it was cold.
Extremely cold, in fact. The night Casey was released, wind chills had driven temperatures below 0, but Casey didn't want to stay home.
He wasn't going to wait. Then he left, went out the door, and said, "I'll see you in hell." And that was the last thing he ever said to me.
Casey walked out the back door, headed towards the woods behind his family's home. His dad chased after him, but lost him in the dark. Hours later, 10 inches of snow fell on Flint. Casey would be missing for 2 weeks until police found his body frozen.
So he got out on a Friday, and he was dead on Saturday.
Yes. Saturday night, early Sunday morning, he froze to death. You don't take somebody that's been incarcerated for that long and just put them out on the street. You just don't do that to people. You don't just throw them out on the street.
Casey died at age 33. His release from state care, even against doctors' wishes, followed Michigan's mental health code. And that, says his mom and scores of judges, is the problem.
We are a nation of rights and we respect other people's rights. But you know, the mentally ill are dying, are literally dying because of the rights that they have.
He's a young man with schizophrenia that's carrying around a Ziploc bag full of pills in the middle of winter. That's a crisis. Somebody should be able to do something about that.
A new tool was supposed to make it easier to help treat the mentally ill like Casey, and it was signed into law back in 2005. But 10 years later, almost no one is using it. It's the fix that never came. And tomorrow on Action News at 6, our investigation continues. I'm Ross Jones, 7 Action News.